Entire books have been written on the subject of Beethoven and women. Why was Beethoven never married? And is it true that a woman he loved had a child with him? Who was the immortal beloved? We explore these questions in this episode. Let's start in 1802, when the 32-year-old believes that he has found the right woman. Beethoven had fallen in love with a female piano student. As so often later, Beethoven got his hopes up and wrote in a letter to Wegeler about marriage. He even dedicated the Moonlight Sonata to Giulietta Guicciardi. But the beloved did not accept. Beethoven was shaken. Wegeler later stated laconically in his notes that Beethoven had been in love very often, but mostly only for a short time. Indeed, in the next years, Beethoven's crushes changed frequently. The list of young women listed here is not exhaustive. But from his correspondence, one can sense the growing despair that he might have to give up his life's dream of marriage and a family due to the distinction in class, since all his crushes came from the nobility, and due to his progressive deafness. Time and again, Beethoven believed himself to be close to the goal. In his relationship with his piano pupil, Teresa Malfatti, who was 20 years younger than him, for example, Beethoven had already obtained the baptismal certificate necessary for marriage. The sad climax of this decade-long drama was the letter to the immortal beloved, found in his estate. Beethoven was 42 years old when he wrote the famous three-part letter in a Bohemian spa. There are two unanswered questions surrounding this significant piece of writing. The first question is why the document was found in Beethoven's estate. Did he not send it at all, or was it returned to him? The second question revolves around the question of who the addressee was. Beethoven doted on many women during these years, and the research on this reads like a detective story. According to the current state of knowledge, 2 women have been shortlisted. One candidate is Antonia Brentano, who was also in Bohemia at the time when Beethoven wrote the letter. The story of the second candidate has some explosive power. The Hungarian-born Josephine von Daim, née Brunswick, was perhaps the most significant, long-lasting female constant in his adult life. The course of the relationship was as it often was. He made advances to his piano student, and she married another and bore children. Her husband died early, however, and Beethoven again saw his chance. He had remained her piano teacher and thus had kept in close contact. However, despite presumably strong feelings, a relationship with the composer was out of the question for Josephine, as she would have lost her noble status and, even worse, custody of her children. The relationship continued, and it is suspected that it was more than just friendship for a long time. Interestingly, Josephine had illegitimate children in 2 cases, both times by private tutors who taught in the Brunswick home. Since Beethoven's taught her, it cannot be excluded that Josephine had a child by Beethoven, for there is a candidate. In 1813, almost exactly 9 months after the writing of the letter to the immortal beloved, Josephine gave birth to Theresia Cornelia, called by Josephine only Minona. Minona is called anonym backwards, and a picture from Theresia Cornelia's late years shows a striking resemblance to a certain Ludwig van Beethoven. But it is not proven. If you would like to see the whole documentary about Beethoven's life, click on the link on the left.